Hello, everybody. Here's the Life Stories channel and a new story. Greetings, I am called Heather. I am 23 years old, and a couple of years ago, I tied the knot with the person I adore. Everything appeared to be going smoothly, despite the fact that my spouse is from France. We didn't encounter many problems, except for the clear language barrier. As a genuine demonstration of our affection, I made the decision to secretly begin learning French so that I could enhance my communication with him and his relatives. That's how deeply I cared for him. I was undertaking this covertly. Frederick and Avril, my spouse and mother-in-law, respectively, had no clue that I was studying French. Not only was I studying French, but my dedication and self-control enabled me to become quite proficient. I knew that if I were placed in the heart of France, I would be capable of managing. You might be pondering, well, if you're so skilled in French, why doesn't your spouse know? And you would be correct in posing that question. The reason is that I was somewhat reserved, if I'm being truthful. It can be intimidating to approach someone and attempt to converse in their native language, particularly if you are constantly in their presence. But I concluded that enough was enough. I had to cease speaking French with both my spouse and my mother-in-law. After all, the entire purpose of my endeavor was to facilitate improved communication, correct? Well, it's fortunate that I didn't commence speaking French with them too soon, because I discovered some very intriguing information one day that resulted in a sequence of regrettable occurrences. Hello, Mother. How are you, my son? Thank you for inviting me over this delightful Sunday. Good afternoon. It was our delight, Mom. Hello, Mama. Hello, my daughter. How are you? Thank you so much for involving me. Oh, hush. You know you're always wanted and welcome here. I brought some croissants and how do you Americans say, bagels? Yes, bagels and croissants for our afternoon tea. Oh, how delightful. Thank you so much. Come and sit, Mama. The food will be ready soon. Did she prepare the food? No, I did most of the prepping. Don't worry. Oh, thank goodness. Hearing this, I was wondering what she meant by that, but I was obviously too shy to speak up about it. How strange and peculiar. Avril always seemed to like my cooking. Why was she saying those things? At the time, I chalked it up to her just wanting to eat food prepared by her son. Maybe she wanted to taste food that she could reminisce on. Eventually, I heard her say, I hate her cooking. Why did you invite me for this thing instead of taking me to a cafe so we can avoid her? Mom, we agreed to speak in English so that Heather doesn't feel left out, remember? Oh, forgive me, my sweet daughter. I was just saying that the food looks so good. I was surprised to learn that it was my son who made the food. Oh, I wish it was you who made it. I love your cooking. At this point, I was getting confused. How could she say those awful things in French and then lie to my face in English? I thought that I must have been mistranslating, but I had a plan to reaffirm what I was thinking. Oh, please don't concern. You should never feel embarrassed to speak your native language. Please, go right ahead. I'll be okay. I'd wanted to capture what she was saying by recording her on the Google Translate application, just to ensure that I understood what she was saying. Because at this moment, I was thinking that I was incorrectly translating what she was saying. We all sat at the table, preparing to eat, and what would come next deeply shook me. I want us to talk about our plan. The time is approaching. It's literally tomorrow, Frederick. You have to be serious. The application, along with my French knowledge, confirmed that there was some plan in progress. But what? Mother, not now. I said I would handle it. What are you going to tell her, Heather? Darling, please hand me the sugar. She doesn't know anything about the plan. I was just going to inform her that I would be out of town. Away? What for? What was happening? I was so perplexed, but I continued to remain strong and not reveal that I could hear what they were saying, so that I could plan my next course of action accordingly. Yes, Mother, I understand. I will do what is necessary. I know how crucial this is. It is exceedingly important. If your great-uncle doesn't see us tomorrow, he will give the house to someone else, like your cousin or your aunt. We can't have that. No one needs to know about this house. Oh, Mother, you're so amusing. Don't worry. I just said that in English so she doesn't suspect what we're talking about. Who, Heather? Yes, Oh, sorry, my love. I was simply inquiring about the creator of this delightful tea. It's magnificent. Oh, that would be your skilled son. I'm sorry. I'm not as adept as he is in these matters. Oh dear, your cuisine is fantastic. Incredibly dreadful, Mom. She will apprehend you. She can't apprehend me. She's too foolish to comprehend us. I don't know, Mom. She clearly grasps some fundamentals, I believe. Let's see, Heather. How much French do you comprehend? At that point, I realized I had to deceive and claimed I had no knowledge at all, just so they would persist in exposing themselves, and I could continue to perceive their true nature. How much French do you comprehend? At that point, I realized I had to deceive and claimed I had no knowledge at all, just so they would persist in exposing themselves, and I could continue to perceive their true nature. At that point, I realized I had to deceive and claimed I had no knowledge at all, just so they would persist in exposing themselves, and I could continue to perceive their true nature. How much French do you comprehend? At that point, I realized I had to deceive and claimed I had no knowledge at all, just so they would persist in exposing themselves, and I could continue to perceive their true nature. Oh, I'm still very poor at French. I obviously know the typical things like bonjour and comment va, but that's it. Oh, that simply won't suffice, darling. You should learn some more French. Yes, ma'am, I will. Well, it's a good thing for Frederick and me, as we can be gossiping about you. I'm just, how do you say, jesting with you. More sherry? We would never do that to you. Aren't we carrying out this task at the moment? Indeed, that is what adds an extra layer of amusement to this situation. They chuckled. Google Translate, and I continued to perform our duties. And as I was documenting the conversation, I also browsed through other applications, websites, and forums to verify the accuracy of their statements. I received approximately 90% validation from these various sources, which reinforced my initial assumptions. After realizing that they obviously did not appreciate me, as they were openly mocking me, I had to persist in gathering as much information as possible. As if their insults were not already eroding my confidence, the next thing I heard shattered my determination. As I mentioned, this residence is exceedingly significant. No one should be aware of it, all right? We must be the sole individuals in the know, because that way we could generate a substantial amount of money. We cannot afford to miss this opportunity. I am delighted that we are pursuing this. It's fortunate that we didn't inform my spouse about this because I don't want to share the rewards. I feel the same way. Everything must proceed smoothly. Your esteemed Uncle Pierre stated that whoever reaches out to him first regarding this matter will inherit the estate. Therefore, we need to physically be there before anyone else, and then we can commence the process of renovating and enhancing the property. I am eager to own a residence in California. That is where I will go to evade my spouse and my life here in Florida. At times, I find it difficult to tolerate her, you know. You are still young, Freddie. You are far too youthful to be married to someone similar to her. Anyway, come and reside with me in California. You can have fun and enjoy your youth with ladies and alcohol. You can have a great time, and then when you're prepared to settle down, you could do so. Let's depart from this place. Honestly, Mother, I believe you're correct. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I felt myself becoming emotional. Pardon me, what's the matter? Is everything okay? Yes, I just need to retrieve something from the kitchen. I couldn't hear anything further at that moment. I needed to compose myself to avoid causing a scene. But how could they utter those dreadful remarks with me right there in the room with them? Did they have no decency? I was so distressed. I began pacing back and forth in the kitchen, and then suddenly I thought of something. When I saw my mother-in-law's purse resting on the kitchen counter, I decided to inspect it to take her phone. Fortunately, it was unlocked. I accessed her WhatsApp and chose to send Uncle Pierre's number to my number. I then promptly erased the message from her phone so that it appeared as if nothing had occurred. Honestly, it was as if I was acting on instinct. I didn't even know why I did it, but I'm pleased I did because I was now devising a plan to harm these individuals the same way they had harmed me. I returned to the dining room where the celebration was taking place, and sure enough, they still appeared to be discussing this situation. So tomorrow we depart for the vacation. I think it's well deserved, actually, because of all the hard work we've been doing. I agree with that. We merit this rest. Is all well? Yes, dear. We were simply discussing the climate and how it's an ideal day to go unwind somewhere. Would you like us to do that? Maybe not today, Freddie. Oh, all right. When would you like to go then? Perhaps tomorrow? Both Avril and Frederick paused slightly in their seats, a movement I was actively anticipating to see their response. Had I not known their plans, I probably wouldn't have noticed it. I don't think tomorrow would be feasible. I asked Freddie to assist me with some tasks around the house. Oh, what tasks? Why is she asking so many inquiries? Just to rearrange things. I can assist as well if you prefer. That won't be necessary. See how intrusive she's being. I don't like it one bit. You see why you have to leave this place. Don't worry, Mama. I've got this handled. I still managed to maintain a smile despite knowing what they were saying. I relied on the delayed gratification that was about to come to satisfy my desire for revenge. I was still recording the conversations they were having right until the very end, just so that I could review it and really extract as many details as possible. As I mentioned before, my French was getting really good, but I still wanted to make sure that I got the right information. That night, I sneaked away from the bedroom to go to the office to do some further investigating. I replayed the audio, and sure enough, my doubts about my accuracy were dispelled. What I could benefit from this entire experience is that there is a holiday tomorrow to acquire a residence from Great Uncle Pierre, and that these individuals apparently detest my guts and are even intending to abandon me. An additional piece of information I received was when I went to the kitchen to walk back and forth, I had left my phone, which was still recording, in the room with my spouse and mother-in-law, and I managed to pick up some more valuable information. The discussion involved Avril inquiring Frederick about his computer password, and she desired to alter some aspects of the flight they were going to be on. I obtained a password and flight details. I must have struck gold. I accessed Fred's computer, and indeed, there were flight details on the website. He reserved the tickets. Feeling very sly and scheming, I may or may not have altered the details of the flight, such as postponing their flight to the day after tomorrow. This was just phase 1 of my plans. There was much more to come after this, since I had sent myself Great Uncle Pierre's number. I was prepared to do what I needed to do. Greetings, Uncle Pierre. It's Heather. Oh, greetings, darling. How are you doing? Is everything okay? Well, no, not really. I went into great detail explaining the events that had occurred that day. I even sent him the audio recording of what happened as evidence because without it, I doubt he would have believed me. We ended the call so that he could listen to the voice recordings, and we reconvened shortly after he had completed listening to everything. Wow, I don't even know what to express. How could Avril do this, and Frederick? They were all such kind and innocent individuals when they were younger. How could they do this to you, to me? I understand. It's a lot to absorb. It was surprising to me too. You have indeed enhanced your French. Well done. Thanks, Pierre. But now that we are aware of this, what do we do? Well, clearly, they're not going to get the house. That's a fact. After hearing all of this, there is no way that I would grant such a luxurious and honorable gift to people who are planning on ruining the place with their wickedness and foolishness. Okay, I understand you. It's your house, and you have every right to do what you wish with it. Yes, certainly I do. From now on, I will be disregarding their calls. Let's see how they feel about that. Thanks once again for bringing this to my attention. You are a good and kind-hearted person, Heather. Please don't let the unpleasantness of this world change that. Thank you for your time and willingness to hear me out. Hearing what you heard today couldn't have been easy. I commend you for your stoicism and strength. Please take care of yourself, Uncle Pierre. You too, love. Good night. And with that, I knew that I secured both Avril and Frederick's downfall. Now that the dominoes were all set in place, I just had to wait for the right moment to tip the first one and watch the rest fall into place. When I got back to the bedroom, Frederick was still fast asleep. It hurt me to realize that my husband, whom I adored very much, would treat me in this manner. I was unaware of his emotions, and if we had discussed these matters, we might have reached a compromise. However, He chose the wicked path. I took his phone and disabled his alarm. Without it, he would certainly sleep endlessly, and that's exactly what happened. I packed my things and decided to stay at a hotel for the night. I could no longer reside in the house with someone like that. The next day, utter chaos erupted. I'm certain that Fred awoke to 100 missed calls from his mother, and he must have been frantically rushing around trying to pack because he foolishly hadn't packed the day before and get to the airport. I presume all of this because I received a call from him at 2 p.m. Where on earth are you? Why didn't my alarm go off? And why aren't you here? Oh, I opted to take a little vacation day for myself. That's pleasant. A little heads up would have been appreciated, though. Yes, similarly, Freddie. What? What do you mean? Anyways, that doesn't matter. I'm running late for my flight. My meeting with Mom. Why are you in such a hurry? I'm sure she wouldn't mind you being a little bit late. You don't understand. Anyways, it's fine. I won't be home tonight and tomorrow night. I've got a lot I need to do. See you later. Before I could even respond, he hung up the phone. I'm pretty sure he was so overwhelmed that he didn't even verify the correct particulars of his ticket, which I had modified to the following day using the Find My iPhone application. I observed that he proceeded to the airport. Picture waking up, hurrying out of the residence with only moments to spare to reach your flight, only to discover that it had been called off. I'm certain he was moving frantically up and down that airport. Unexpectedly, I got a call from Avril. Hey you, what have you done? What do you mean, Avril? Drop the pretense. I know that you interfered with our flight. If by interfered you mean alter the date, then yes, that's precisely what I did. Why would you do that? I was attempting to assist you guys. Didn't you mention that you wanted Freddie's assistance with rearranging some things? I noticed that you foolishly booked the flight for today, the same day that Fred was supposed to help you, so I decided to make some changes. You're welcome. Frederick, come and speak to your spouse before I intervene through the phone and reprimand her. Listen here, Heather. I don't know what you've done, but whatever it is, I want you to cease it immediately. Uncle Pierre still isn't responding to his phone. Try again. He's not answering his phone because he doesn't want to converse with you two. You can comprehend us. Every single word. But how? I've been practicing. I informed you, Mama. I informed you she might be able to hear us. So that means yesterday you heard everything. Yep, here's what's going to transpire. I'm going to divorce your worthless son and leave you two to your own accord. Have a fortunate day. Oh, and incidentally, the next time you want to discuss someone with them being right there in the room, make sure they don't comprehend what you're saying. Have a pleasant life. I disconnected before they could even speak. I was finished with their behavior. Later in the day, I received a call from Uncle Pierre. Greetings, dear. How are you? I'm a bit upset. I just had a nasty argument with Fred and Avril, and now I'm getting a separation from him. I'm so regretful that this is the way that things turned out, Heather. It's part of life, I suppose. How are things on your end? Well, I finally answered that call, and I gave them a piece of my mind, and they are not pleased. What did you say to them? I informed Fred that he's a fool for treating you the way he did and told Avril that she's wicked for involving her son in her plots. And I also informed them that I have given you the house. You what? Yes, dear. The mansion is yours. Even if you get a divorce from Freddie, it's all yours, and you can share it with whomever you please. I simply can't believe it. It's too much. I wanted this house to go to someone kind and compassionate, but also tough and strong when you need to be, and that's exactly who you are. A house is the least I could do after all the stress and turmoil those two fools put you through. The house is yours. Take it. And with that, folks, not only did I manage to distance myself from two toxic individuals who didn't have my best interests at heart, but I'd acquired a multi-million-dollar estate during the course of events. Witnessing my acquisition of the residence they had always desired caused Avril and Frederick to become extremely envious. I was subjected to continual threats of harm from them on a daily basis, but my only response was to share images of various areas of the property, serving as a reminder that it belonged to me and not to them. Retribution had never felt so extravagant.